Walk around the compound, see some tigers and then some squeaks. Hi, Melita. Hi. Snuffly girl. Snuffly pretty girl. Hey, baby. What are you doing? Over here. Please? She's going. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I should. Mita pita. Mita pita pants. There she is. There she is. Hi, beautiful. Hi, baby. Hi, sweet pie. Hi. How are you? Oh, pretty girl. Oh, pretty girl. Oh my goodness. Happy girl. Happy girl. Alrighty. Hello all you big cat lovers out there. It's me, Derek, again. Welcome to another super duper fantastic episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. If you don't already subscribe, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know, if you want to see new big cat videos, me babbling. Sometimes I say things that are unintentionally funny. People can just point and laugh. That's silly. But for those of you who are a little bit newer, why don't we just kind of reset the gears a little bit? Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to basics. Because, you know, every once in a while you get new viewers. And maybe they don't have, I mean, look, I've got an impressive catalog. Not everyone's going to go back and watch all of the videos. So you're not going to get the full context. You're not going to get the full picture, the full scoop, the full story. I mean, of course, if you want to learn more about the facility around here, you can always go to the website carerescuetexas.com for more information. I do that. It's a jingle. But this facility right here, it's called the Center for Animal Research and Education. We are a non-profit organization. We are a rescue facility for wayward exotic animals, primarily big cats, lions, tigers, leopards, cougars, some bobcats, some lemurs, a coati, some llamas. Yeah. These animals, they come from a wide variety of different places, and they need a home. Now, some of the animals were former pets, or they were rescued from unsavory circumstances. And some of the animals were actually born here. This facility actually used to be a breeding and boarding facility for different zoologic programs, traveling cat shows, whatnot. That allowed for the buildup, the physical buildup of the actual structures, many of which you see. And over time, the facility was able to accommodate for different types of rescues. So my wife, the founder and executive director of the organization, decided to take the facility into a new ideologic direction and turn it into a rescue/research facility. Some of the other cats, they've actually come from maybe other zoos or other zoologic situations, other sanctuaries. And possibly they came from maybe those other places they came into economic hardships, or like some of the recent animals that we've taken in. We took in 2 cougars from the Dallas Zoo. The Dallas Zoo was actually going through a period of actually updating a lot of their enclosure spaces It was going to be a very long-term project, so they decided to rehome some of their animals. So those animals actually came from very good places, and they just decided to transfer them to our place, which is also another good place. Regardless of wherever the animals come from, once they're here, this is their permanent spot. They don't go anywhere else. This is their home. And they live here until they croak. I mean, yeah, pretty much though. We like to keep this environment nice and peaceful and calm and happy for them. It's conducive to mental well-being and physical well-being. We are in a rural part of the country. We are in a rural area outside of a small town called Bridgeport, Texas, which is west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we're in North Texas. We are in North Texas. We've got about 30 or so big cats. About 30. I just got done with a run, so I'm so sweaty. But I think it's a really good place. I think it's a really good place. We've grown a lot over the years. We've got a really great team, really smart people who are getting our name out there and allowing us to influence and educate. Oh, and as far as the research, because sometimes people hear that name, Center for Animal Research and Education, and of course they automatically kind of think that maybe we're just like getting tigers and we're hooking up electrodes to their brains, or we're spraying perfume into their eyes. And we certainly don't do anything like that. We do things like behavioral studies, or bite strength studies, or clinical medicinal trials. We've got a lot of old cats. We've got a lot of elderly cats, elderly lions and tigers. And we do different things. We've done different medicinal trials to help with mobility and function, quality of life. We've done different things as far as preventing the loss of musculature, which is common in pretty much anything that's elderly, any elderly mammal. You lose kidney function and you urinate a lot more protein, and then your muscles start to kind of atrophy. We've done a lot of different genetic studies. We've taken different samples whenever we do vet procedures or whenever we have animals that pass on of their own accord. We'll take blood samples and skin samples and tissue samples and we send them off. And we've worked very extensively with geneticists and genomicists trying to... Hi, bud. That's Slade. He just snuffled at me. Geneticists and genomicists. We're trying to understand some of the more intricate secrets of big cat ingredients, I guess. In particular, we've actually worked with individuals who have done studies with white tigers, and they've tried to unlock some of the causes for things like malignant melanoma. And it's interesting because the studies that have been happening with tigers are actually potentially beneficial to even people. So yeah, when you hear the word research in her name, just like Slade is researching the ceiling of his pool house there, It's pretty interesting stuff, and it's not the only time that it's ever, you know, invasive is if, well, like I said, they've already passed on of their own accord. We do a lot of education. We do tours. Our development director, Jamie, and my wife, Heidi, they do a lot of different things as far as social media, Instagram and Facebook. Help to educate people about different big cat things, and not necessarily just like this is a lion and this is how fast they run and did you know that they have manes and stuff like that, but it's also different issues regarding big cats in captive type situations. Some of the more intricate and complicated issues surrounding, oh, stinky face, or the scientific term for that is the flamen response. Yeah, when they smell something interesting. So Zubiri was smelling the berries. Mr. Ra's jingle bells. Hi. Yeah. Well, we try to advocate and educate. All of that stuff. And also because we're a nonprofit, we exist primarily on donations. Well, actually, not primarily, exclusively on donations. That's what we exist on. People ask if we ever receive any sort of government funding. No, we don't. It's all private donation. All through the goodness of other people. And it takes a lot. I mean, we have to constantly be doing maintenance and upkeep. We have to ensure that the enclosures are sound, able to keep in these big kitties because, well, you know, they're tigers. They're big and they're strong. They're very instinctual animals. They can't help that part of themselves. As you can see, they can sometimes be a little bit emotional. Sometimes they just can't help it but to be just kind of, you know, a little bit mayhemish, a little bit murdery. You can't hold that against them. You can't. So you can't ever take it personally if they ever get mad at you. And sometimes they do. That's why we try to keep the place nice and calm. That's why we try to keep the environment nice and calm. Because if you have a calm environment, the chances of the kitties being less aggressive and the chance of their instincts going off is lessened. The chance that they'll have impulsive outbursts is lessened. You can't completely do away with the risk that they're going to engage in their instinctual proclivities, but you certainly can try to work to minimize those types of things. Also, these animals are in captivity. They were all born in captivity. Captivity is the only thing that, well, actually, I take that back. Not all of them were born in captivity. Apollo and Lakai, they were actually rescued from the wilds up in Canada before they ever went to the Dallas Zoo. And our two bobcats, we have three bobcats, but two of them, they were taken from the wild as cubs. One was separated from their mother, and the other one, their mother was killed. So we actually do have a few animals that, technically speaking, were born in the wild, but were brought to captivity very young. But for the most part, these animals, all that they know is captivity. All that they know is captivity. And this is all that they're gonna know. So we think it's very, very important, and this is our kind of philosophy. This is part of our, hold on. I just noticed that someone was in his pool. Tigers like water. Tigers like water. And it's just always fun to see them in their pools. I know. I see you. Hi. Hi. Yeah, you're very cute too. That's Nadal, and this is Devon. And that's Bonnie. And she just got done smelling something very interesting. But since these animals live in captivity, and since captivity is the only thing that they're really ever going to know, we think that it's very important to keep them psychologically engaged. Of course, there's various bits of enrichment that go into that. Basically to ensure that the gears inside of their brains just kind of keep on moving along, making sure that those little parts are all greased up and working and functioning. And a big part of that enrichment is actually just engaging with them. The people who are here, the people who work here, talking to the animals, acknowledging them. That's very, very important, we believe, to their psychological well-being, their overall psychological well-being. This is Chompers. He's one of our older guys. Like I said, as far as proteins are concerned, you can see most of the time you can tell definitely by their back legs. They lose a lot of muscle mass in their back legs. It's usually some of the first bits of muscle to go once they become geriatric. And he is geriatric. He's not Stevie-atric. He's not Johnny-atric. He's geriatric. Tiger dad jokes. Another big part of our enrichment program is our feeding program. We have a unique feeding program. There's other places that have similar programs. There's other places that have actually very similar programs, but not many. Not many. At least, certainly not to the extent that we do it. In our feeding program, we've got our interns. They're getting cats locked up right now because we're going to be actually feeding them in a little bit. I know, it's exciting, right? Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, we're going to be feeding in a little bit, and then they're going to lock up. We're going to lock up the cats over there so that we can get food into there, and also we got to mow inside of their enclosure, you know, keep the grass down, keep things looking pretty. So you can see that they're actually coaxing the cats in. And the cats are fairly well socialized that sometimes all it just takes is just basically just saying, hey, would you mind coming over here? Could you please come over here? And the cats will just say, just like, yeah, sure, why not? And they'll get up and they'll come over. It's not to say that they're trained, but they're socialized and they know the drill. And they know that food is going to be probably a part of that transaction. So they comply. And we operate on their schedules, we operate on their time. It's more of a thing where we kind of ask for their permission. Hey, would you mind doing this? Not so much of a, you're gonna do this. This is my way or the highway. Hi, girls. Like these girls, they got locked up into the lockdown system. You can see all of the enclosures, they have lockdown areas adjacent to the larger enclosures. When we put the cats into the lockdown areas, where you can lock them up. And then you can actually have access. You can actually drive vehicles in their lawnmowers and stuff like that. But anyway, like I was saying, our unique feeding program, we actually feed whole livestock carcass pieces that are donated from local ranchers. And he is peeing. That's there you go. All right, well, I mean, it is something that they do. Ah, yes. Majestic. We get donations of livestock from local ranchers. Cows and horses, primarily. Now, if these animals are not already dead of natural causes, They have a reason to be put down. They have a reason for why they may need to be euthanized. We get referrals from law enforcement, animal control, local veterinarians regularly. A veterinarian may come out to a ranch, and here's the thing, we live in a rural area, we live in ranch land, we're surrounded by ranches, we're surrounded by farms for miles and miles and miles. There is an abundance of livestock in this area. So there's always something getting sick. There's always something breaking a leg. There's always something getting cancer. Something. But yeah, there's numerous instances where you'll have a veterinarian, they go out to a ranch, and they work on a cow or they work on a horse. Hi, Noe. And they basically say, well, I've tried all I can, and there's really nothing else I can do for your animal. I'm very sorry, but here's an option. You can take it out to the tiger people, and they will humanely euthanize your animal. They'll chop it up, and they'll feed it to their cats. And then, you know, the death of your animal can mean the life of others. And that's a good thing. Not to mention it's a tax write-off. That's also another incentive too. Look, you gotta have multifaceted reasons, and besides, not everyone's gonna have the same motivation. Some people, they bring out a cow, like actually the other day, some people, they had to bring out their pet cow, and it was devastating. They were very sad. They were very, very sad. You know, but they say like, well, this is a good thing, and it's gonna mean food for these guys, and you know, we wouldn't want it any other way, and sure. And then there's other people, I mean, look, like I said, they're farmers and they're ranchers, so, you know, maybe it's a business, and they're like, well, I mean, it sucks, I'm gonna lose some money, but at least I can get a tax. At least I can get a tax write-off. Okay. Regardless of the reason, it motivates the people to come out here and, you know, keeps the kitties fed. And we don't take healthy animals, or animals that don't have problems, I should say. We don't take animals that are, they're completely perfectly fine, and they don't have any sort of kind of like cognitive disorders or behavioral kind of things. They don't have blood disorders. They don't have any, like, we take animals that have issues that would be put down kind of regardless. I remember there was the one time, this was years ago, there was some people, they were like, well, we're moving. We're going to move to New York, and, well, we just don't want to take our horse with us. And we don't want to look for a new home. So can you guys just take it and just feed it to the cats? And we're like, no, it's not, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Sorry. And they're like, all right, I guess we'll find a home for the horse. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably do that. You should probably do that. Oh, hi, babies. Hi. What? But that diet is very, very good for these animals. It allows them to actually tear through bone and hide and tendon and fur. All sorts of different kind of musculature parts and ligaments. It's tremendously beneficial for their teeth. They get so many nutrients, so many vitamins. So it really helps them just with their overall health, longevity. Yeah. And like I said, it's a huge component of our enrichment program. Probably the main thing of our enrichment program. Because we're going to feed these animals. We're going to feed them tonight. And then we're going to give them all night. Hi. You're so big. You're so big. We're going to give them all night to chew and to tear apart whatever pieces and parts we give them. Yeah. And that's going to be very psychologically satisfying for them. That's a good thing to get those brain gears going. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like to think that this place is a pretty cool place. I started working here over 10 years ago, back in October of 2006. October of 2006. I kind of randomly just stumbled upon this place. I met a person, kind of just on accident, who was a volunteer at the time. We just started having a conversation, and the conversation turned to this place. And I've been a huge fan of tigers ever since I was a little kid. Ever since I was a little guy. I've loved tigers. Loved them. And then this person was telling me about this amazing place that was not too far away from where I was at the time. A place that had all sorts of lions and tigers. And then you get to work around them, and you get to be, if you want to be a volunteer, you can, because we're always looking for volunteers. And if you want to try to be one, you can go there and check it out, try it out, see if you fit. So that's what I did. I started volunteering, and I became instantly hooked. Instantly hooked. Just fell in love with the place, fell in love with the animals, fell in love with the people, and it became my home. Kinda, sorta fell in love with the executive director, the founder, you know. Just sort of moved into the place, started making videos, people started watching the videos. Yeah, the rest is history. But yeah, that's kind of us in a nutshell. Pretty big nutshell. It's like a 25-acre nutshell. Technically, I think that the actual area of the property that has enclosures on it is, I think, only 10 to 12-ish or so acres, if I'm not mistaken. Not entirely sure. I'd have to look at some of the old plan, the blueprints and stuff, the land maps. But anywho, I think that's probably a good place to end it. Hope that you enjoyed this edition of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. I usually post these things on Tuesdays and Thursdays, for those of you that didn't know. I try to maintain a consistent schedule. It's hard. Hi, baby. I know. You're crazy. You're so crazy. Anywho, thanks for watching. Oh my gosh. You see her? See how crazy she is? I will talk to you folks later. All right. Bye-bye.